I am back with another astrology child edition video, and this time it is on the child rising signs. Knowing your child's rising sign can provide valuable insight into your child's personality, their interests, and their needs. Hello everyone, welcome back to Matriarch Astrology. I'm Miliana Reyes, and let's jump right into the first rising sign. So first up, we have a child with Aries rising. So the first thing I would encourage here is to promote independence, of course, within reasonable boundaries and limits. That goes depending on age. Children with Aries risings are very self-reliant. They're ruled by Mars. So where Mars is in the chart is going to be another very important indicator. And I will be making a second video about the ruler of the rising sign throughout all the houses, because that is very important to look at as well. But this is very general. So here we want to encourage these children to make their own choices, their own decisions, as long, of course, as they are reasonable, because this is really good for their self-esteem and their natural leadership skills. We want to encourage creativity because they are creative, and we want to give them plenty of chances to express their creativity in a healthy and productive manner. So you want to encourage your children to try forms of creativity like painting, music, art, or dance. Now, it's very important to set reasonable boundaries here because they can be impulsive and assertive. They do need clear boundaries and expectations that need to be followed. So we do want them to, of course, share their opinions and their thoughts, but you also want to maintain discipline and order, as well as natural consequences. Now, since this energy is ruled by Mars, we are going to want to put importance on emphasizing exercise. So sign them up for sports. Of course, ask them which one they want to be enrolled in, or after school type of sports. And if not sports, then anything that's outdoors and active, so that they're able to burn off that energy. Now, aspects are very important to look at, as well as what sign Mars is in, because you could see somebody who doesn't want to be as active, or that's not their go-to. But in general, we want to help them burn off that excess energy. So even if it's not outdoors or sports, even just letting them outside and play, that will be great. Riding bikes, playing with other kids throughout the neighborhood, that's perfect. So Aries children love praise, so we always want to celebrate successes that they have, celebrating their accomplishments. This is really going to help boost their confidence and encourage them furthermore to succeed. Next up, we have Taurus rising. So these children are very determined and persistent. This is fixed energy, so encourage them to set goals and achieve them. They may also be attached to material items, especially if it brings them a form of comfort. So educate them on the value of saving money, and you can do this by providing them a piggy bank and teaching them how they can save up their money to buy, let's say, for example, a smaller child like a teddy bear, or older child a plush blanket. We also want to encourage flexibility because, again, this is fixed energy depending on what sign Venus is in and the aspects being made to and from Venus. But in general, because they may tend to be more quiet and headstrong, we want to encourage flexibility and openness as needed. This could be with you or with other children. They may be naturally talented at music or art, so you are going to want to foster those interests if they do have them. They may love nature, so allow them to explore within safe limitations. Now, these children thrive on stability, so make sure that you are providing a very safe and secure home with plenty of sensorial type things like plush blankets, plushies, really nice smells. This really helps them feel safe and secure, especially within the home, and of course a stable environment that's not too loud or too changing. They may not be fans of sudden changes. They could also really take care of their own belongings, so as they get older, you can see that they really take care of their plush toys, things that they have on their own. They really want to make sure that it's clean and might not want to share it with other people, depend. But since they find value in those items, they're going to really put an emphasis on caring for them. A good thing we are going to want to teach these children is to deal with stubbornness or inflexibility with patience, because they are resistant, so they will respond better to gentle persuasion and, of course, consistency. You are going to want to help your child establish routines because they do thrive on stability and routine. This helps them feel a sense of security and safety. And make sure that you are providing delicious yet at the same time healthy food, because they can easily sway to wanting more sweets or overindulging in food. So just make sure that it is healthy and in healthy moderation. Next up, we have Gemini rising. So Gemini rising is ruled by Mercury. You are going to want to see where Mercury is placed in the house system and in what sign Mercury is in. I will be doing a video on the rulers of the rising signs and what houses they are in the next video, and that will give further insight on this. But this is just very general Gemini rising. So here you are going to want to support their desire to learn and to be curious, because they are very curious with this mercurial energy. Also, you're going to want to assist them with their speaking skills, writing skills, and communication skills. Allow plenty of opportunities for them to socialize with other children and develop friendships. Whether this is something that's going to be easy or hard for them will depend a lot on the placement and aspects of Mercury. Be flexible and allow their moods to change as well as their interests, because they may want one thing one day and then the next day they could be completely interested in a whole different topic or subject and get bored and not want to do something that they've been pursuing, let's say for a whole week. So just allow them the flexibility, because that's something that Mercury brings, where it can be interested in many things at once or change their mind pretty quickly. Encourage them to try new hobbies and see what it is that they like and don't like. And remember, they may change their mind. Now, you are going to want to help them express themselves, and you can do this through art, music, or even drama. Go by your child as well. It doesn't have to be what I say. Whatever it is that you think that would help your child express themselves. If it's in a creative way, then do that. Now, we are going to want to help them regulate their energy, and we can do this with plenty of rest, good diet, and exercise. So whenever they're having any issues, you can help them solve these by asking them questions or helping them brainstorm. And again, this depends on age, but overall you want to allow them to express themselves and embrace their own unique traits. Here's another sign that we are going to want to put a strong emphasis on structure and routine, because this will bring a sense of security to them, which allows them to feel safe. And also you want to help them meet that need for variety and change. And this can be done by providing them with certain materials or books or anything that they might be interested in, so that they can further explore that. Okay, next up we have Cancer rising. So Cancer is ruled by the moon, so we are going to want to see where the moon is at, what sign it's in, as well as aspects. As I mentioned before, I will be making a video on the ruler of the rising sign and what house it is in throughout the wheel, so that I can further explain this information and go deeper. But in this video, we're just doing the rising signs. So since we're dealing with the moon here, these children can be very sensitive and emotional depending on what sign the moon is in. But in general, they may need extra comfort during any time of stress or change. So they may feel more comfortable in familiar environments due to them having really strong family ties. So we can see here a possibility to internalize emotions. So communication is going to be very important with this placement. So you are going to want to encourage them to express their emotions and validate those emotions and feelings. So this is not the child that you're going to want to tell to stop crying, because I know that's a really big one, especially for boys, where they're being told to stop crying or boys don't cry. Not saying that that's what's happening. I'm just saying that that's something that I see a lot, and we want to encourage them to validate those emotions and even express them further. It's going to be very important that you are truthful and open with them, because they are very intuitive and they're very observant of their surroundings as well as their own parents and just in general people around them. With this placement, we can see an urge to care and nurture others, so you want to help them find constructive ways to do this. Similar to Taurus, they do want a very stable home, which I feel every child would want a stable home, but it's very, very important for Cancer risings to have a stable and safe home, because they have such a strong connection to the home and family. So I don't think they would be really fond of constantly moving from home to home or things suddenly changing within the home. Of course, I understand that things happen, so just allowing them plenty of time to know beforehand, like let's say if you're going to move, tell them as soon as you know, so that they are already expecting it and they have time to process it. We are going to want to encourage imagination and creativity. No matter the age here, there's always a way to incorporate creativity and imagination. And since it's related to the arts, it could be by art, or it could also be related to baking or cooking in a way. Other aspects can give you further indication on what exactly, or you can just simply ask them and provide that for them. And lastly, they can be prone to being anxious, so just make sure you're providing a lot of emotional support, love and security. Next up, we have Leo rising. So here we are going to want to encourage creativity because they are naturally inventive. So we can help them express this through arts, music, and drama. We want to help them develop healthy leadership skills because they want to naturally lead. So we want to give them both decision-making and leadership opportunities. And this is going to help them improve their leadership skills. And one example of doing this could be by providing them a director role in a small little play. Praising their accomplishments is going to be very important because they do love praise. So celebrate their successes and inspire that pride in a healthy way, while also helping them maintain a healthy balance between pride and modesty. And you can do this by teaching them humility. Help them learn to appreciate other people's efforts and to accept failure gracefully, which might not always be easy for a child with Leo rising. Now, we are going to want to help them control their emotions because they can be very emotional. So you want to do this by modeling this yourself and by teaching them healthy ways to express and regulate their emotions. Make sure that you are encouraging generosity because these big-hearted children love to give. So encourage them to donate, let's say toys that they no longer use, their time to a good cause, things like that. And overall, we want to help them identify their passion because they are naturally purposeful and they want to change the world in some type of way. So help them pursue their goals in life. Next up, we have Virgo rising. So this is another rising sign that is ruled by Mercury. So these children are very known for their attention to detail and their ability to spot things that other people miss. So this observant skill can be very useful in different aspects of their lives, such as academics or problem solving. And they do have also a natural inclination towards order and routine. So they thrive in structured environments and may excel in tasks that require organization and planning. So I see this as the child who appreciates when the parent organizes or helps them organize their planner or their backpack, wanting things to be in order, knowing where everything goes in their room, in their backpack, if they're in high school, in their locker. Providing them a really nice planner and agenda would be very beneficial. Again, it depends on what sign Mercury is in, as well as different aspects. Also, these children can naturally appear first off as shy and reserved. And this is mainly when they're in new environments and meeting new people. So just give them plenty of time. They'll come and start to socialize on their own time. They just need that time to like warm up and feel comfortable. These children also have a strong desire to help others. So they may be the ones who want to help do chores around the house or just assisting in like the cooking or the washing of the car. And lastly, they could prefer activities like cooking or gardening. They could be very health conscious. I have seen a client who has a child with this who likes to go running. She's in middle school, but she's very on top of her cross country and she's always making sure that she's eating right and working out. Takes a lot of pride in her health. Just make sure that while they are striving for excellence, we do want to teach them and help them understand that making mistakes is a natural part of life and it's not exactly a failure. It's a part of learning and growing. Next up, we have Libra rising. So these children are charming, friendly, and graceful, easily winning others over. They could be very vocal about certain injustices, whether within the home or at school, and they're going to put a lot of emphasis on fairness. Again, this all depends on what sign Venus is in and the house placement, as well as aspects. These children could be naturally talented at painting, music, or other creative fields. One strategy to encourage this creativity within Libra rising children is to provide whatever it is that they need. So for example, if it's art, providing art supplies, if it's music, providing lessons or equipment that they need for their music, or even just the opportunity to explore different mediums of artistic creativity. Now, conflict and turmoil may challenge them because they don't like conflict and turmoil. They may tend to avoid it as much as possible or allow things to slide by just to keep the peace. And that's something that we really want to teach these children, is to have really strong boundaries and not allow things to happen just because they want to keep the peace. And this could be at school, at home, wherever with other people. And this occurs because they desire peace and harmony. So as parents, we want to help them build supportive relationships, friendships. And we We can do this by encouraging them to join certain clubs or after school activities that they can meet like-minded people, while also instilling and reminding them to have strong boundaries and how to handle conflict in a healthy manner. This is going to help them gain confidence so that they can handle life's ups and downs as they grow. Next up, we have Scorpio rising. Again, we see the energy of Mars here. If you're looking at modern astrology, you're going to be looking at Pluto. So these children are passionate, strong-willed, and focused. Their determination and drive allows them to pursue their goals with unwavering dedication. They also tend to be very cautious and secretive, often keeping their emotions and thoughts hidden. So very observant. They're watching, especially when they're first meeting new people and meeting new children. They're the ones that are going to quietly watch and observe so that they can kind of figure out a little bit of each child's personality or a person's personality, because they are very intuitive. However, once they do feel comfortable in opening up, they can be incredibly devoted and very loving. And as I mentioned, they're very intuitive and they have a high ability to pick up on other people's feelings and subtle signs. So picking up on social cues, others' emotions can be a lot easier for them. So this sensitivity can make them excellent at understanding and empathizing with others. It will be important to teach them stress and anxiety management techniques, such as deep breathing exercises or journaling, or just expressing themselves in a creative way. And that could be through painting or even drawing. This can help empower them to navigate those strong emotions, which helps prevent them from feeling overwhelmed and anxious. Next up, we have Sagittarius rising. These children are very curious and want to learn, want to explore and travel if that is a possibility. You're going to want to see where Jupiter is placed as well as the aspects and what sign it is in. But in general, we want to allow them to explore, of course, within safe limitations and boundaries, and avoid controlling them, because they do like independence and they like feeling free. But as I just mentioned, we want to go by age and what's appropriate by age and within those safe limitations. So we want to encourage them to speak up for any type of injustices, because this is that 9th house of law and higher moralities. Also, I would say to expect blunt communication, although honest, still blunt, because that is the way that Sagittarius speaks. Even though you still want to look at Mercury to look for their communication, I would still say to also slightly still expect that. So these children are going to be active and energetic. This is a fire sign energy, so we want to provide them with plenty of opportunities to exercise. This could be through sport. They would most likely probably love outdoors and small hikings or camping. So I would encourage organized sports and outdoor activities, as they could prefer to be more energetic and active. If possible, and if that's something that they're interested in, traveling to other countries would really be beneficial for a child with Sagittarius rising, because this is 9th house energy of foreign lands and wanting to learn from other cultures and being really excited about doing that, learning about how other people eat, how other people live, what they eat, tasting those foods. It really helps them see the bigger picture. And these kids could naturally love learning, so provide them with kid encyclopedia books, open-ended activities, or things to help them explore and learn. And if traveling abroad isn't something that's available, just planning a trip to a local museum or even cultural festivals. Next up, we have Capricorn rising. So for further information, you're going to want to look at where Saturn is at, the sign Saturn is placed in, aspects. I will be making a separate video about that, meaning about where the ruler of a rising sign for a child's chart is within the house wheel, because that gives a lot more information. So stay tuned for that one. So these children may be mature beyond their years. We're dealing with Saturn, which is old father time, Chronos energy. So this child can be very behaved, may seem like an old soul. They may come off as serious and taking life too seriously from a very young age. Overall, they can be very responsible, especially as they mature and grow, and often act like little adults within the home. If they have younger siblings, they could want to take on a sort of parenting role with them. However, they can be very charming and charismatic. That is once they start to warm up, either to new people or new situations. But expect them to be more shy and reserved at first. So these children may work hard to achieve goals. Even as children, they can be very motivated and ambitious. And there's nothing wrong with that. We just want to make sure that we're also encouraging them to not take themselves so seriously and providing them plenty of time to play. These children may also have trouble expressing their emotions, so allowing these children to talk their feelings out and even encouraging and having a little sit down with them in a safe environment, knowing that it's okay to have them, is very important. So since these children naturally thrive in structure, they are going to do a lot better with a structured environment and routine, as well as structured activities. Of course, we want to go by age here and everything that's appropriate. So give them plenty of assistance and plenty of encouragement. Next up, we have Aquarius rising, another sign that is ruled by Saturn and in modern astrology, Uranus. In the next video, I will be talking about the ruler of the child's rising sign in the houses, because that is going to give us a lot more info. But in this video, it's just the rising sign. So parenting a child with Aquarius rising is going to require a lot of understanding of their individuality and their uniqueness. So it's going to be very important to allow them to express themselves while respecting their individuality. So we want to provide these children with plenty of opportunities to solve problems and to think creatively, to develop their own critical and analytical skills. So despite being friendly or even optimistic, they will require time alone. The Saturn is more of a restrictive, secluded energy, and they need this time alone to recharge. So make sure that you are allowing them and respecting that need for time alone and not overburden them with social interactions. And that could be by maybe there's a birthday party that they don't want to attend and just allowing them not to go if they don't want to. Or if there's a practice, like let's say a sports practice or music practice, and maybe that day they're really not feeling it, allowing them that day to just decompress and have time to themselves. Or even that they don't want to go outside and play that day and they just want to stay inside and color or just stay inside and sleep, and allow that too. Say sleep more for like high schoolers. Make sure that we are encouraging them to accept and appreciate others the way they are, just as much as they want to have their own unique way of being. It's very important to teach them to allow others to be their own unique selves as well. This is really going to help them. So we want to motivate them to use their passion and energy in constructive ways, like through sports or activities that allow them to be themselves and show who they really are. This will give them a sense of purpose, overall bringing a beneficial effect. We want to teach them good coping skills because they could have strong emotions. We could do this by teaching them deep breathing or journaling or expressing themselves in a creative way so that those emotions don't stay stuck within. We want to help teach these children healthy communication and connections with others. We do this by teaching them how to have open communication and honesty with others, even if it hurts the other's feelings, as long as it's not in a manipulative way or a way that's hurting someone purposely. This is going to really help them strengthen their relationship if they know that they can always be open and honest. Oh, and one more thing I forgot. I'm sorry, that was supposed to be the last thing, but this is the last thing. Allow them to be their own unique selves and let them know that you support them and love them just as they are, and they don't need to try to change themselves to fit any type of mold. Last, we have Pisces rising. So here we have the energy of Jupiter, and in modern astrology, people would look at Neptune. However, I am going with traditional, so I'm focusing mainly on Jupiter and where Jupiter is placed in the house system. I will be doing a separate video on the ruler of the child's rising sign throughout the houses, which will give a lot more insight, so stay tuned for that video. These children can be naturally drawn to the arts and other creative outlets, so we are going to want to encourage their imagination and creativity. So these children can struggle to control their emotions because of their intuitive abilities and their empathy. They're able to empathize with others and feel others' emotions. So we want to help them set healthy boundaries and teach them about healthy boundaries while also encouraging self-care and self-reflection. Play therapy, I think, would be really beneficial if that's something that's available where you live. And I know that most of it is not available to people, but it's something that I would look into and see if it's something that you can do and provide for your child. And just make sure that they are setting aside time, whether they do it or you help them set that time aside for them to do things that they enjoy doing, like hobbies that encourage, of course, their emotional well-being. So if they enjoy painting and that really brings them a sense of security, then I would make sure that I set aside time for them to do art. Like when they get home from school, instead of going straight to homework, I would have them do art first for a certain amount of time, of course. That's just an example, or whatever hobby they might have, or just being out connecting in the backyard with nature can be helpful too. Children with this placement could have tendencies to feel feel self-doubt or have these feelings of insecurity because this is the 12th house energy. So to help them feel more confident, it can be very helpful and beneficial to praise them and celebrate their successes, while also encouraging them to use self-affirmation cards, or even just writing it on the mirror can be really helpful, or other self-reflection activities to challenge those negative ideas or thoughts. I would do maybe a sticky note on the mirror that says I am beautiful, and we recite that every day before school, or every day that we wake up. Doesn't have to be before school. Also, we want to encourage them to spend that time alone and also cultivate some spirituality if that's something that you're comfortable with, because they may be naturally drawn to spirituality. So having a child's oracle deck would be really nice. Crystals around the home, things like that. They may be naturally gifted, so you may want to help them develop their intuition or their possible psychic abilities. Other aspects can really go further and deeper with that, but this is very general. And of course, if that's comfortable for you to do. But I wouldn't be surprised if the child picks up on certain things and tells me that they feel certain things, or even hear certain things, or dream things. So just don't be surprised. You would also want to encourage writing, poetry, or creative art. This can really help them develop a sense of self-care, since they may tend to overcommit themselves to others and end up neglecting themselves. These children also may naturally want to help, so you can help them with that by encouraging them to donate certain things or volunteering for certain causes. Go by age here, of course, with everything that I say. We also want to encourage self-discipline, as they may tend to procrastinate or find ways to avoid tasks or responsibilities. And lastly, we want to encourage sports, as they can have a tendency to be idle. It really depends on other aspects and what sign Jupiter is in, and of course ask for their input on what type of sport they would like to do that is physical. There you guys have it, the rising signs in a child's chart. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for the next video that I will be doing about the ruler of the rising sign in the different houses, and how that can deeper your understanding on how your child may navigate this world. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give a like and please subscribe, as I do have more videos coming, and I will be adding this video to the playlist on my child series in astrology. Also coming up next, I do have Mercury in a child's chart and how that helps you understand their communication style, so go on ahead and check that video out next. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!